With the SEC lawsuit, both Ripple and the SEC have filed our motions for summary judgment. So the decision now rests with the judge to make her decision. We're optimistic about having a positive resolution there sometime this year.
Can you give us any further timeline? Because it seems the action in the XRP token seems to assume something's around the corner.
Unfortunately, we don't know. It's really just with the judge. It's up to her.
And still hopeful that it will be on the side of Ripple at this point?
Very hopeful, yes.
What are the implications if it doesn't?
The implications if the decision
goes the way of the SEC.
We think that that's very unlikely, considering, by our view, both the facts and the law are on our side. In terms of broader picture, what's happening in the U.S. on the regulatory front, we're seeing action through enforcement versus setting clear rules and regulation, which is what all of us in the industry really desire.
So on that regulatory front as well, we are here in France, and France is really trying to push itself to become a key crypto hub, not just here in Europe, but globally as well. So as you look at what's happening in Europe with countries like France and Switzerland trying to create sort of crypto-friendly environments versus the US and the SEC, which is very heavy on the enforcement side at the moment, as a business, is the US falling behind?
We think so. And so you raise a great point. Europe is really emerging as a leader in terms of setting really clear regulations and rules that allow crypto companies and also traditional finance to embrace crypto. MiCA, the set of rules set forth by 27 countries who've come together to set a common framework, which is remarkable when the U.S. has one government and they can't get their act together.
And what does that mean ultimately then for Ripple's business expansion? Are you looking at sort of hiring in Europe here? Are you looking at expanding offices here in Europe as a result?
We are, yes. So we have our hub in London, but we have 9 offices around the world, and we're growing our team primarily outside the U.S., which is where our business is. Last quarter, about 75% of our flagship product, the payment network, the flows were outside the U.S.
And what can you tell us then about some of that expansion here in Europe? The headcount specifically in certain countries or sort of product expansion?
Both, absolutely. So we're continuing to hire even through this crypto winter, where we're seeing a lot of companies contract, because we've had a focus for since the beginning of Ripple 10 years ago. We've really been focused on solving real-world problems and bringing utility to crypto. We've had we're in a good position to continue to grow the team. So we're hiring through our London office and also expanding our payment network throughout Europe.
Monica, what can we read into the big rally we have seen in Bitcoin this year and sort of the broader crypto markets? Is this signaling optimism that this crypto winter is coming to an end? Are we at the early signs of a new bull run here?
It's hard to say when the winter will thaw exactly. I think what we're seeing is that crypto and Bitcoin, the industry in general, is here to stay, even in the wake of recent events with the U.S. banks.
And in terms of those collapses of U.S. banks, what kind of fallout have you seen so far? These are 2 key lenders to the industry, and there are questions about whether there are other banks around the world that can pick up that slack, whether this is going to sort of cause even further damage in terms of funding to startups and the broader crypto ecosystem. What are the sort of potential implications here?
I think we've seen some strong resilience in the crypto markets, considering those 3 banks, Silvergate, Signature, and Silicon Valley Bank, were 3 of the most crypto-friendly banks in the U.S. So we saw crypto effectively become unbanked in the U.S. overnight, shutting off those U.S. dollar on-ramps. But in pretty quick order, we've seen that the industry not only persist but kind of revive itself. And now we're seeing new banks in the U.S. kind of come into the fray. The bigger question, though, is U.S. regulators' outlook. Some in the industry have called this choke point 2.0, where the U.S. government is taking action to sort of snuff out crypto, which is impossible. This is technology that, the genie's out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. It's going to exist, so it's a question of which countries are going to embrace it and set forth rules that allow the industry to thrive. And I think that you're going to see the innovation leave the U.S.
And even though a lot of companies there will start talking about decentralization and crypto as an alternative to traditional finance, it's still very clear that a lot of these companies rely heavily on the traditional banking system.
That's true. That there's there's I think an interlacing, and our vision at Ripple and what we've always talked about is that the way that blockchain and crypto can really really modernize financial systems is by plugging into and working with traditional finance, not overturning it or disrupting it.
And in terms of the banking, there's a big lot of turmoil here in the banking sector at the moment. You work with financial institutions. Given that turmoil we are seeing, are they sort of turning away from your product at this point, given trying to sort of put out the fires elsewhere? Is this a bit of a pause in the industry in terms of adoption of your products?
We're not seeing that. We're continuing to grow, so we're coming to a close on our Q1, but even still, we're continuing to see growth and new customer interest.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.